Hello and welcome to Business News. I'm Dorcas Igonor. The Central Bank of Nigeria has assured researchers of more funding under the healthcare sector research intervention as the country seeks to develop vaccines against infectious disease. The bank recently provided over 200 million naira for research and is calling on organized private sector to also join hands in effort to secure the country's future.
Of COVID-19, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, created intervention programs for the health sector. The bank also provided funds for research to develop local vaccines. Director of Development Finance at the CBN, Yila Yusuf, gives an update.
Under our healthcare sector research intervention, we've evaluated over 60 applications, and we have 5 of them that are successful. So just to mention that this is separate from the healthcare loan, which we've disbursed over 85 billion to 80 different projects.
Checks were recently issued for 5 of the approved research that were submitted to the body of experts led by NAFDAC Director General Professor Mojisola Adeyeye. The CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said more projects for research will be funded in the coming days.
No doubt we have problems of dearth of funding, but I seize the opportunity to appeal to our corporate institutions. You are in medicine, you are in engineering, you are in any area in the sector. You should come together and work with us to develop and fund research and development for the good of our people.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and the Minister of State for Health, Olorunimbe Mamora, commend the effort of the Apex Bank and says the country must develop its own solutions for infectious diseases. Over 200 million naira was given out to the researchers who were drawn from various institutions. The belief is that their work may just bring about the Nigerian vaccine needed in the fight to end COVID-19 and other diseases.
Some Niger Delta residents have given their backing to the 10% host communities trust fund in the petroleum industry bill, as recently demanded by the South-South governors. Opinion makers in Warri Delta State say after years of untold hardship occasioned by oil production, communities in the region deserve more than 2.5% proposition.
Industry Bill PIB is the oldest piece of legislation in the National Assembly. The PIB, among other matters, seeks to address issues pertaining to the development of host communities in the oil and gas producing states. In the last quarter of 2020, President Muhammadu Buhari represented the PIB to the National Assembly for consideration. The revised version of the bill proposes 2.5% of the operating expenditure of oil firms to set up a trust for host communities. But governors from the South-South region are insisting on 10% on the grants that the proposed 2.5% is not enough to improve their well-being, a proposition supported by some opinion leaders.
25% be enshrined in the PIB for us to find peace, for us to live and let's live.
We want 50%, not even 25%. We want 50% of the oil. We want to control the oil because it belongs to us. It's our resources.
They, however, cautioned the federal government and the National Assembly against politicizing the bill.
It will be a kind of man's humanity to man for those in the National Assembly to politicize by saying that 2.5%. What an insult.
The people are suffering now. Have you not gone to the areas? Nothing to write about it.
With the PIB having scaled its first reading at the National Assembly, expectations is that the controversial aspects of the bill are given due consideration. AIT News, Warri.
Now, Nigeria and South Africa are arguably the continent's 2 biggest nations. Nigeria accounts for about half of West Africa's population, with approximately 202 million people, while South Africa is the second largest in Africa, with a population of about 58.77 million. Both countries are high on many of the continent's indices. This report compares both countries' budget, GDP, revenue, and economic impact on the African continent and the global scene.
With an abundance of natural resources, Nigeria, Africa's biggest oil exporter, has the largest natural gas reserves on the continent. Oil accounts for over 80% of the country's exports and half of government's revenues in Africa's largest economy. South Africa boasts of having the second largest economy in Africa. It is, however, the most diversified economy on the continent. It is highly industrialized and technologically advanced. However, the global economic disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic has taken its toll on both countries. Both countries also have an inevitable youth unemployment rate.
Unfortunately, we have an economy that is export-oriented in terms of what we get as revenue to run this economy. There's nothing wrong with that. It should be so. But make it to grow your domestic economy is important.
The South African economy cannot be compared to Nigerian economy because they are disciplined in budget expenditure and they keep timelines in their budgets.
Nigeria's 2021 budget-themed Budget of Economic Recovery and Resilience of 13.59 trillion naira is aimed at changing the situation by accelerating economic recovery and strengthening the country, while South Africa's 2021 budget of 2 trillion rand has huge amounts allocated to education and cultural development. Economic analysts have called on both governments to implement their 2021 budgets to boost infrastructure development.
There are no budget implementation. When you're having 20, 25, 30% performance, you don't have a budget. It means that what you've planned for 3 years, 4 years, the cumulative of execution performance in 4 years gives you one budget. And they keep budgeting trillions.
You are talking about South Africa. South Africa is a small country, if you look at what, compared to our population and even the size of the country. But they are more organized, they are more industrialized.
According to United Nations data, South Africa's budget deficit projection for 2021 has more than doubled to about 15%, more than the 6.8% shortfall that was projected. Nigeria's present fiscal deficit at 5.60 trillion is approximately 3.93% of GDP. Analysts advise that focus should be reduced on oil, while other sectors should drive economic growth. If the continent's two giants are to make any real positive impact on its people and the global economy at large. Guhe George, AIT News, Abuja.
And that's business news. Dorcas Igonor. The news hour continues.